speaking of those Michigan Wolverines, they took care of business, no problem against Hawaii, like we knew they would. They even took it easy on Hawaii and really just played the second, third, four stringers the entire second half. So after being up, 42-0, they took it easy on them because we talked about the spread. The 51.5 point spread is just a ridiculous size spread, and they easily could have covered it, but they'd have looked like absolute dicks if they did. So putting the other guys in and giving them some run does wonders for them for the future. For if injuries happen, you got some guys who've gotten a little bit of playing time, and it doesn't look as bad when you're taking on a team like. So props to Michigan and Jim Harbaugh for not completely running up the score, because they literally could have won this game 100-0 if they wanted to. Like, I have no doubt. If they wanted to, it'd have been no issue. JJ did what we thought he would do, Ryan. We talked about it. What happens if JJ McCarthy comes out and doesn't miss a beat and throws for like 3 touchdowns? Well, he went 11-12 for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. They even took him out for a little bit. They threw Cade in there. Cade looked absolutely terrible, so they brought JJ back in to throw his 3rd touchdown of the half and just solidify the fact that he is going to be the starting quarterback for the University of Michigan going forward.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried that you were going to bury the lead there for a minute and bring up JJ. But, yeah, he's the guy. He did. It still feels a little set-up-ish to me, but he did what we thought he was going to do, probably what he was supposed to do, and he went in there and slung it around against Hawaii. And, boom, bada bam, now he's the starting quarterback, and Harbaugh announced that, I'm pretty sure, right after the game. He was like, yeah, JJ's starting next week, week 3. So I'll give credit to JJ here in that he played like basically a flawless game at quarterback. Again, it was against Hawaii, but it's not like he could have did any better than what he did. So I'll give him props there. Again, I think it was a little bit set up-ish to have JJ like come in that spot against Hawaii, a night game at the Big House, and just kind of get all the adrenaline, all the excitement, where Michigan probably wanted to put on a little bit more of a show than they did in week 1. But if that was the plan, then it worked to a T, because that's exactly what ended up happening. And now Cade McNamara, he has until like week 4 to transfer this year, or he can just wait out the rest of the year and then transfer at the end of the year. But I don't see a scenario where he's on Michigan's roster next year.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm curious to see what he does this year, because if he does transfer, we have to take a look at who the backup would be. I know he played a little bit as well. The 3rd string quarterback played a little bit.
I think it'd be Bowman.
Yeah,
Alan Bowman, the guy they got from Texas Tech last year, who came in.
So that would be interesting to see. To go from winning the Big Ten and leading your team to a college football playoff to leaving. It's kind of like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and Tua. Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Hurts did everything right, but then, had a bad game against Georgia in that first half. They brought in Tua, and everything changed, and Hurts was off to Oklahoma. So, we've seen quarterbacks in bigger positions.
Didn't Hurts stay for the next year? Because he helped them win the SEC title. And then he went off the year after that.
Graduate transfer to Oklahoma.
So, I actually think Cade would stick around this year because he knows they can still win the Big Ten. And obviously JJ is a big running threat too. Not that a quarterback can't get hurt at any point in the game, but running quarterbacks are more likely to get hurt because they're just they're more susceptible to big hits and putting themselves more out in the open like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cade just rides out the rest of this year and figures, hey, JJ might go down, and then I'm going to step right back in with a group of guys that I won the Big Ten with last year, and that we know, we can still compete with, essentially, right? Because Michigan should have a pretty good team regardless. If you're doing like your week 2 entire Big Ten preview, Notre Dame lost to Marshall, and Notre Dame played Ohio State pretty close. Not that the transitive property is always going to work that way, but if you're Michigan and you saw Notre Dame lose, you're probably happy for 2 reasons. 1, because it's your rival and you want to see them lose, but 2, because it might have showed that Ohio State performance wasn't as impressive as maybe you first thought, right? Because it was a top 5 matchup. It was number 2 versus number 5, and Ohio State went out there, won a 21-10 game against Notre Dame, but Notre Dame was beating them at the half. So now the fact that Notre Dame looks like they're terrible, right? Maybe Ohio State you're looking at and you're like, oh, that's not as bad as we might have thought. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cade is, plans on sticking around because there's, not a zero chance that he can win another Big Ten title if he stays with Michigan, and that he can be the guy to win it if something were to happen to McCarthy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that's the smart move for this year, especially with the way the transfer portal is now. There's no having to wait and sit out a year or anything like that. Yeah. So it makes sense to be in that position where he can still help his team because people get hurt, especially mobile quarterbacks. So it definitely makes sense in my mind as well that Cade sticks around. Michigan absolutely dominated this game. Rushed for 260 plus yards. Corum with 88 of those in the first half. 10 different Wolverines carried the ball. That's not including Cade getting sacked twice for a minus 17 yards. So if you take those numbers off, their average is absolutely ridiculous for what they did against the Rainbow Warriors. They ended the game with 588 yards of total off. They absolutely dismantled this team like we thought they would, and so no surprise there. And I think that's going to do it for us for college, except I know there's something you want to talk about, some of the big things you noticed this week, and one of them was a big one from college.
So it is. I did want one more question. Do you feel bad for Cade McNamara at all?
Yes and no. I not mostly no, because this is the game of athletics,
okay.
And if you get beaten out by someone better, you get beaten out by someone better, and then that's that. And Cade had his chance against Colorado State. He didn't set the world on fire. When he came in this game, he looked absolutely terrible. I understand mentally it's got to be rough for you, but your job is to come in and perform, and someone did it better than you, so that's that.
No, and I'm with you, but I think we're in the minority because exactly what you said. He knew this was a competition going into the season. It sounds like he was a little bit surprised that they decided to go with him starting against Colorado State and then JJ starting against Hawaii, but he knew that's what it was going to be, and then he just played like ass. So,
do you think it'd be different?
To do?
Does he think it'd be different if he started against Hawaii and JJ started against Colorado State?
He probably does think it'd be different, but when he came in against Hawaii, he didn't play very well. Maybe he thought by that point JJ had already locked it up, right? Because it's not like JJ was struggling, and then Cade came in and was like, "Oh, it's my time." So I don't know.
Look, if Cade comes in,
because I see a lot of boo-hooing for Cade, and I'm like, all right, well, he also didn't play that well. There's that part of it. It's not like he came in and had 7 touchdowns and 1 pick, and it's like, oh, what the hell?
Right.
It's pretty bad.
He came in, and he didn't perform well against Hawaii even. So I don't understand why it would matter which game one started and one didn't start. I understand that Colorado State's a better team than Hawaii, so I get that aspect of it. But either way, JJ outperformed you. So you have to go with one quarterback going forward. They can't keep doing this dance. Everyone knows that. JJ answered the bell, and Cade didn't.
Hey, Ryan Griffin here. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Griffin and Bass. Be sure to give us your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to click the bell to receive the latest notifications from DSN, and subscribe for breaking news, community blogs, polls, contests, and other content